Good to go. Okay, well, we will jump right in. We'd like to welcome two-time Honda Classic champion, Padraig Harrington. Patty, thanks for joining us for a few minutes. 2005 and 2015 titles here. You're making your 14th start and 8th consecutive, if I saw that right. Just came off the course, so just a few thoughts on how you're feeling and being back here at PGA National.
No, but obviously, it's always nice to be back here. Golf course has been a few changes this year. I think they've softened it up a little bit for their playing guests. I don't think it's going to make a big difference to the scoring for us. Maybe 6 and 17, maybe a little bit easier, but not to the winning guys. So the winning score will be the same, but maybe a tiny bit easier for the cut line, and definitely some good changes for the playing punters every day of the week.
I don't imagine I have to go too far out on a limb to say you've got to be feeling good about how you're playing right now. You're coming off a runner-up last week at Chubb. The last season on PGA Tour Champions was an exceptional one for you. Just a few comments on how you're feeling.
I'm feeling good about my game. It is interesting. You come into a week like this, and you do then get a little bit anxious, a little bit stressed, because it's like it's a one-off week, and you know. I think I'm playing great, and I'm so desperate to come out here and play great, and yet, obviously that's not the way you play great. I've got to play like it's just any other week, like on the Champions Tour. And my game has really gone up on the Champions Tour because I'm obviously a big fish in a small pond. It's a bit more relaxed, and it's let the good stuff come out. Clearly, that's what I want to keep doing when I come back to the regular tour. But it's tough, It's tough in the sense of, you're kind of wanting so much to show that form out here, and it's like a one-off. It's like a European coming over here for 1 week, or it's like somebody getting an invite, as I have an invite this week, but it's like a one-off invite. You tend to put a little bit too much emphasis on it, so I have to be wary of that this week, that it's just try and play like I play on the Champions Tour and let it happen.
Okay, and one last question for me, and then we'll take a couple from you guys. Announced today that you were one of the finalists for the 2024 World Golf Hall of Fame. Just your reaction to that? Yeah,
there's 20 finalists, and when you look down through the names, you'd hope all of them get into that World Hall of Fame. Everybody on that list is very deserving. I'd like it to be me for sure, but I look at another 19 very deserving candidates, and it's a pity some of us are going to be disappointed at the end of it, but hopefully, as I said, they're all deserving, and hopefully it works out for us all.
Okay, well, with that, we'll take questions. Tom?
Patty, you mentioned the course. A couple of guys mentioned, I guess easy is not the word, maybe less challenging. Is the rough a little bit different?
The rough is actually quite, it's at that length of flyers. So it's not heavy rough, but you do get flyers out of it, and the greens are fast enough that those flyers will make a difference if you start missing greens. I think the golf course is much more palatable for the guys playing. They'll enjoy it. Like shortening the bunker on 17 just makes it does make a significant difference to it. But I don't think it makes any difference to the leader. He wasn't going to be there. The changes that are made, the leaders, the guys at the top of the field are going to be hitting the middle of the fairway anyway, so it's not going to change their score so much. The level of rough, this is what you tend to see nowadays. It's more of a challenge. You can always reach the green from the rough, but you can find some wild places with those flyers. So I think it makes for more interesting golf. I certainly, personally, I've been much more competitive on US Open style rough, really heavy rough where you don't get flyers, and I struggle a little bit on flyer rough. So I find this level of rough tough, not around the greens but off the tee, because as I said, you got to judge your distances, and it can get pretty wild out there if you some of those flyers. So I like the challenge, and certainly for the majority of the field, even though I don't think it would change the scoring, I think the majority of the field would feel more comfortable with that.
And is your job the next 2 days to get between the two Ryder Cup captains and make sure there's nothing comes between them?
My job the next 2 days is just play good golf. With the three of us, we're all at that stage of our careers where I think we'd be somewhat I think there'll be some nice conversations. We'll be enjoying it out there, pretty relaxed. You know, Luke and Zach know that their battle isn't on the golf course at the Honda Classic. Theirs is to come in September. So, you know, I think it would be very nice, a very nice, comfortable group, to be honest. I was very pleased with that draw. Nice to be playing with guys of somewhat of my my era.
And speaking of Luke, you know, Ryder Cup is all about team camaraderie, getting teams together. He has no idea who's going to be available for his team. Does that make it more difficult summer for him?
I think it does. But I think saying he has no idea either, you know, he's a fair idea who's making up the backbone of his team, and he definitely has a good idea of who else is challenging. Whether you're you know, some of these live players, it's a long shot for them to make the team. You know, qualification. Like I don't know what, as nobody knows at this moment whether they'll be eligible to play or not. But like, it's a long shot that, like, it's a pretty tough team to qualify to get into. So, you know, unless you play a substantial amount of qualifying events, it's very hard to make the team. So I just think it's probably a little clearer to Luke when he's looking at his potentials and looking at the stats and who's playing well and who's not. It's probably a little clearer to him than it is to the public who are maybe hopeful that some player is going to make the team, but when you look at the reality of it, well, it's probably not going to likely happen. So I think I don't think it's as big a deal for Luke as maybe, you know, an outsider looking in would think. When you're on the inside, you can see it's team is shaping up.
Somebody here, are you good? Y'all good? Two questions, and we'll cut you loose. Kind of putting you on the spot with this one. 13 top 10s and 19 starts on PGA Tour Champions last year, 4 of which were wins. Were you surprised by the amount of success you enjoyed in your first season out there?
Well, there are differences between the Champions Tour and this tour. The first and foremost is, you know, on the Champions Tour, there's always Diet Cokes in the coolers on the tee boxes. So no, not so much out in the golf course. It was all smart water out there, and they're very professional out here. And the Champions Tour were a little bit more relaxed. No, you know, my game had turned the corner coming into 50 years of age, 49. I was starting to play well in regular events. Still a little bit hard on myself at those events. And what happened when I went to the Champions Tours, I just was getting... I always explain it like this. If I could play this week and you know, say I have a week where I finish 15th, okay? Pretty much most people will come up to me next week and say, well done, you finished 15th. And that's going to be about 6 shots back from the winning score. Now, if you finish 6 shots back from the winning score, I guarantee you on a Sunday night, you're going to go, need to swing it better, need to hit it better, need to hit it further. You know, it's all technical stuff. Whereas on the Champions Tour, on a Sunday night, I'm going to be in contention with 9 holes to play and likelihood finish a couple of shots back. And if you finish 2 shots back in any tournament, I can guarantee on a Sunday night you are sitting there ruining the mental error you made on some tee box or some shot. So on the Champions Tour, all I'm doing, I basically, I do a lot of talks. I talk to professional teams, athletes all at home, and I'm always telling them what to do. Now that I'm on the Champions Tour, I realise, you know, I was only paying lip service to it myself. I could see when I kept going close, a couple of shots, that, you know, it was about doing the stuff I know to do, but maybe I wasn't allowing myself to. Because, as I said, when you're that far off the pace on the regular tour, you're always thinking, if I fix this first, then I can get the mental stuff right. Whereas on the Champions Tour, I've just gone straight to the mental stuff. I've tidied that all up, and I'm a lot better. Mentally. Physically, I was playing well, so mentally I've got a lot better because I'm in contention, you know, so often, and it's a nice place to be. It's nice to be a big fish in a small pond. It's nice not to have the stress of a cut. Even the couple of events I played in the European Tour, you know, yeah, even the first one where I finished 4th, you know, at one stage on the Friday, what's the cut going to be? Where am I And when you start thinking like that, you just hit a brick wall. It's amazing how hard it is to play when you're thinking about the cut. And you've got to get that out of your mind, which the Champions Tour, again, we don't have a cut. It's 54-hole golf is, it's, you know, 54-hole golf is not 72-hole golf. That's very obvious. It's a big difference having a cut line. A lot of pressure, a lot of stress in that cut line, and you know, it doesn't matter how good, what you've done in your career. Professional golfers have this silly thing in our heads that we don't want to miss cuts. We don't want a weekend off. Who in the world doesn't want to have a weekend off? Professional golfers, we all get uptight when it comes to the cut line. Much more so for me. You know, I could be chasing down the lead and it wouldn't bother me whatsoever. But if I'm on that cut line, I'm like, oh, you don't want to mess that one up. So that's, you know, it's freed up my golf somewhat, and you know, hopefully I can take that to the regular tour. Physically, I'm very capable. You know, it really is. When you get to my age, it's a strange one. Even though you have so much more experience, you've lost your innocence. And those two things, there's always something going on in your head that you have to manage, much more so than when you were a young player, with all the future ahead of you.
Okay, that's a good answer. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, sorry, John, go ahead.
Yeah. You won here in 2005. What was your initial impression of Florida-style golf?
Yeah, you know, maybe not 2005, but it was very alien to me. Florida golf, US golf. I was brought up on golf courses that, you know, we had difficult conditions, wind, which we have here, fine, but not water and things like that. I'm still, to this day, like, it freaks me out when I see water down one side of the fairway, and it's just not what I grew up with. I'd rather see a pop bunker or something like that. You know, it's just a different way of playing golf. Obviously, as a professional, by the time I got to 2005, I was starting to get used to that. But Mirasol was a good golf course for me in that sense. It was a links-style golf course. You know, it was playing hard and fast that week, very windy. But, you know, probably at that stage, I got somewhat accustomed to US golf at that, you know, and definitely, you know, down here in Florida is kind of ideal for me in the sense that, you know, we've got wind, which definitely plays into my hands, and you know, the courses are great and you know, difficult, which again plays into my hands. I think that the fact is, it's not necessarily Florida golf, but you know, it's the fact that PGA National is such a difficult golf course. It gives me a great chance on it, and Mirasol was difficult that week as well.
Bay Hill next week, a number of people doing tributes type things to Arnold Palmer, and was asked to see if we could just get a reflection on either a favorite story about Arnie or a favorite anecdote, something, experience with him. You know,
there are obviously plenty of stories about Arnie. I think my favorite, I wasn't even there. I was watching television, and Arnold, when he was could have been 70 years of age, certainly late 60s. He's playing a Champions Tour event, and he's come in off the golf course, and he's played well and shot a good score, and they're interviewing him. And he's gushing with enthusiasm about how he's found the secret to the game. Now, he's in his late 60s. You think at this stage he would have thought, you know, there is no secret, but the enthusiasm, the love, the joy, the optimism that, you know, I have found it. And there he was, 70 years of age. I found it. I have it. The buzz he gets. And you know, maybe I'm drawn to that so much because of the fact that that's why I play golf as well. I get up every morning with the hope and the joy that it's just going to all fall into place, and I'll have it. And there was Arnold at 70 years of age in the same boat. It was fabulous to see on TV that somebody could have that love and enthusiasm for the game of golf, knowing that, you know, having gone through his experiences, the whole game, you know, to be still going at 70 years of age and loving it, what more could you ask for?
It's a perfect way to end. Well, thank you for your time. We always do appreciate hearing from you, and love to have you right back here Sunday night.
That would be nice.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Even somebody actually said to me, you know, hope you win it this week, but not on Monday. And I'm going, no, Monday's just fine. I'll take the win anytime.
Tuesday's available.